All right, y'all. We back with another one. Welcome back to another episode of the Prolific Hangout with yours truly, MV Pro. Now, what I would like to talk about, since we on these, since I'm doing the wrestling video topics, let's talk about underrated promos. Basically, underrated mic skill workers. Underrated mic workers. And the only reason I say underrated is because they don't get put on a big pedestal like the Ric Flairs, Stone Cold Steve Austin, or The Rock. But these dudes have some great mic skills, man. And if you ain't good on a mic, man, good luck with trying to make it. Good wrestling just ain't gonna do it. But there are exceptions like Bill Goldberg and, well, he wasn't really a good wrestler, but his intensity made the matches better. Rey Mysterio, and that's just to name a few. But in order to really push through and get over, especially back then, was to have good mic skills. Now, I'm going to start off with Shawn Michaels, Mr. HBK, right? Man, I went back and I watched a promo from like 1995 where he and Roddy Piper he's on top of that echelon where he's with the Stone Colds, the Rocks, the Ric Flairs. When you talk about great promos, Roddy Piper is up there. But I seen Shawn Michaels get the best of him in like 1995. I think it was an episode of Superstars. But Shawn Michaels got the best of him. He even kicked the crutches because Roddy Piper was on crutches at that time, right? But yeah, they was going back and forth. And I was watching, I'm like, oh man, Shawn Michaels been had the mic work even like back then before he became the real Shawn Michaels. But a lot of people said he was intoxicated, and you could kind of see it in his face at times. But my favorite Shawn Michaels was 97, where he went heel and DX was starting to build up. Now, you take somebody like Shawn Michaels, whose father was in the army, and he grew up in San Antonio, Texas, but I heard he moved around a little bit even before he, got settled in San Antonio. But you watch his dad do interviews, he seemed like a militant type of guy. And he seemed like a real good guy. Now, Shawn Michaels, he kind of carries that too. Even though Shawn Michaels he get a lot of flack for back then, of how he was and the things he did and the way he talked to people. When you the best and you the best and you could talk it on a mic, what anybody else gonna tell you? And a lot of people didn't like Shawn Michaels because he would break it down for him and give him the cold hard truth. But another reason Vince ain't want to get rid of Shawn is because he knew that was his greatest talent that he had on the roster. But it wasn't by far, because Bret Hart, them two is like neck and neck, but Shawn Michaels was a better performer. Bret Hart might have had better matches, but Shawn Michaels was the better performer and more athletic and more charismatic on a mic. But he used to be ripping into guys on that mic. In like 97, the DX days, man, go back and watch that. That was his greatest mic work ever. Go back and watch that. But Shawn Michaels, he always knew how to deliver on the mic and in the ring. That's why, to me, he's the greatest to ever do it. Like I said, he and plus wrestling back then, he was around some real guys who they had to talk that talk. Being in the cars, riding with old school wrestlers, they giving him game. He's taking it in. He had it. Not just on the mic, but in the ring too. But on that mic, man, this dude was arrogant, cocky, and you couldn't tell him nothing because you knew he was the best. And he would drop some truth on you. He would tell you the truth about yourself and even tell little jokes about you and snap on you. And when he would roast people, like, I genuinely thought it was funny. I would laugh at times because it was real, you know. But you could tell when you look at Shawn Michaels, you could tell he wasn't all that happy at that time in 97. So it was like a mixture of anger plus he was doing his job. But everything I just said, growing up in San Antonio, Texas, having a militant dad, and being around just hard-nosed wrestlers that was old school back then, who knew how to talk. Oh yeah, it built him into something. And he knew he had to talk that talk because he had a size that was smaller inside of the wrestling genre. But in real life, he had a pretty decent size. He was a regular sized guy. So Shawn Michaels definitely got that mic work. And even beyond, in the later years, he did some promos with Chris Jericho. I think they had some great back and forths on the mic. But yeah, Shawn Michaels, he always had it on the microphone, man. Especially as a heel. You know? And Bret Hart too. But we talking about Shawn Michaels right now. Now, going to my next person, which is Paul Bear. Like I said in the last video, he had me hooked into that Undertaker vs. Kane storyline. I believed every word he said. And he was selling it. The facial expressions, the voice, the whole story he came up with, it sounded and felt real. And he was the mouthpiece for the Undertaker, like his first couple years, his first like 2 to 3 years with the Undertaker. And you know, Undertaker would add his little 2 cents in, but Paul Bear was the one selling it. Okay? And they even gave him his own segment, The Funeral Parlor. Go back in the early 90s and watch The Funeral Parlor. And watch how Paul Bear would sell other wrestlers, sell other rivalries. And he would sell The Undertaker being a terror. That voice was horrifying, man. He put the whole thing together. Oh man, and when he got with Mankind and those promos that they was cutting back then, those would give you chills up your spine. But Paul Bear, he had the gift because he had the voice and he had the managerial skills, and the guy was a real mortician. So the whole makeup and the look and the attire that they gave him, it all fit. But go back and listen to that chilling voice and just listen to everything that he said word for word and the wordplay he would use. And Paul Bear, he's a great storyteller. I don't think anybody could have pulled that Undertaker and Kane storyline off, like telling it like the way he did. So go back and watch some of his work, even in the early days with the Undertaker. All right. Number 3. Now, to me, this dude, he's definitely one of those guys who could cut a promo being a heel or baby face, but he's so cool, it don't matter if he's a heel or baby face. I think people still gonna like him and cheer for him. And that's Kevin Nash. Big Kevin Nash. Now, Kevin Nash, he's a big guy from Detroit. Like, he's straight up Detroit. You know, listen to his podcast now. Click this. He loved to talk. That's what he do. He loved to talk. But just growing up in the Midwest and being Detroit bred, he had to grow up knowing how to talk that talk. And he started to break out his shell a little bit, like right before he left the WWF. But when he got to WCW with Scott Hall, man, they started cutting some real good promos. But later in his career, as time went on in WCW, and he get that mic and lean over that rope with his cool little swag, man, he'll tell you some real stuff. And, you know, I wouldn't say bury people, but he'll throw shots at people because Kevin Nash is a stand-up guy in real life. They wasn't with all the backstage politics. They was involved in them, but at the same time, they wanted everybody to get paid. He went head up with CM Punk on the mic, and me personally, I think CM Punk is the best on the mic they got out of the new generation today. But yeah, go back and watch that little segment with him and CM Punk. But Kevin Nash, man, he know how to talk it. He loved to talk, but the dude is very, very intelligent. Very intelligent. And he digs deep when he talks about things. And, you know, he was on a road with Scott Hall, and Scott Hall taught him a lot. But when he grabbed that mic, anytime he came out and grabbed the mic, I knew he was about to say some things that's gonna stick. He had a great delivery. He was so cool about it. He had a swag about it to the point where you believed everything he said, because he was so cool, but you know he could flip it and turn it up. You know? And Kevin Nash, he cuts a promo, to me, in my opinion, is unscripted. He just go out there and let it rip. You know? But I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to continue this list. I'm going to keep this thing going. And, yeah, check my next list out. But right now, that was a video for the underrated mic workers in wrestling. The ones that's not put on a high pedestal. But even if you want to hear Kevin Nash cut promos now and just talk on his podcast, go and watch Click This. And I salute to that, man. But yeah, that's it. Another episode of the Prolific Hangout with yours truly, MV Pro. Come check us out. Well, check me out. And I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna keep delivering these videos to y'all. So stay tuned. I'm out.